Well, the first thing I want to say is
the great old ones is coming back, and we the great old ones.
The first thing I want to say is
the great old ones is coming back, and we the great old ones. Magic.
What is a ritual?
Over 100 million people worldwide practice Voodoo.
He said, yeah, you must be one of them fallen angels. And I said, correct. We are the fallen angels.
Black.
Some might call it.
Even black magic. But truly no civilized person in the
Magic.
Sorcery and witchcraft.
Demons.
It's taboo.
It's taboo.
It's taboo.
We talking about we tapping into ourselves. Magic.
We are the ones that got trapped down here in the physical and became mindless slaves for a remnant of God who once was our children.
Have you ever seen yourself through the eyes of someone else that you have become?
Cause ain't none of them niggas come under this magic. Cause ain't none of them niggas come under this magic.
Only an insider knows the secrets and mysteries.
Far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
If you want to plumb the secrets of voodoo, you'll have to wait for the end of the world.
What is reality?
The real trick to life is not to be in the know, but be in the mystery.
Is everyone a mystery? What's happening within us will create what's happening outside of us.
I'm Indian pastor.
In Haiti, the Caribbean, and New Orleans, they practice Voodoo. Black magic.
We're going to pour libations to none other than our own power.
Dead ancestors.
Cause ain't shit fuck with this dark side.
Voodoo practitioners. Altars.
The witch gods of the African Congo.
Black
Magic.
ceremonies.
Oh, now don't tell me you believe all that mumbo jumbo. Oh, now don't tell me you believe all that mumbo jumbo. I've been here long enough, never to speak anything with mumbo jumbo.
Magic.
Every Dr. Chronicles. Everybody just kiss them and I know it's real. That's how I do my magic on the court.
You think you'll fight the white man with some goddamn birds? Is you fucking crazy? Fuck it. You think you'll fight a white man with a goddamn gun? Nigga, is you crazy? Only way you can fuck that cracker up is on this shit. Dark side, nigga. Dark side. Dark side.
Thanks everybody for coming out and showing love tonight and support. As you know, we've got Bobby Hemmitt for 3 nights in town. Yesterday, he definitely warmed up the house. Today, he's about to drop the whole British Camelot legacy and how we're relevant to all of that. So tomorrow, we're going to go into the practical stuff as well. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So again, I know people are slowly but surely coming in. Just want to give you a round of applause and just give a shout out to everyone.
A bit of story because I didn't really put it on there yesterday. This is the brother that's responsible for bringing me, and he's the one that pulled it all together, Daryl Springer. And, this started from our meeting in New York back in March. You know, he came all the way over when he heard I was speaking. Met up with the brothers and all, had Azariah to come through, and then he called, I think it was like the day after Azariah left, and was like, yo man, you got to do this. You know, like I said, I've been telling people for like 4 years, okay, I'm gonna get my passport. And you know, so I was like, wait a minute, then I said, well, okay, it's time. I knew when he called, and the way he said it, it was time, and I knew, and it's no time was better than now. So this brother has done it, and come to find out, one other reason why I know I came is because there's certain gods that walk among you. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said there'll be an angel on each corner and all that. And we realize with this brother's energy, this brother's one of those gods. Not saying that you are not either, because that's what we're trying to recognize. But we already recognize this brother as one of those entities and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Don't necessarily mean you're supposed to worship him, but you just need to know that if this brother is an entity and a high being, and he's in contact with you, it ensures you that you are an entity and a high being. And all. So we'll get down with all of that and all, you know. And maybe, I don't know, maybe tomorrow we might, or maybe today we might even do a little thing to find out what kind of entities you are. You know, we could do that on a numerical system out of Kemetic. So I want to put that down. So how we do this also now in New York and all, we always have the master ceremony come on, and that's in that case that's Black Dot on the tapes. They do it. So this time we gonna enlist Israel for that type of thing also. So to get this thing rolling. All right. Okay. Well, let's give a backhand to Brother Israel coming on up. Anybody saw the radio show today? Anybody heard the radio show? He did a great job, you know, and energy came through. It started at a slow pace and it built on up, and all. So yeah, so real powerful stuff that's going on.
Well, basically, I'm not going to take too much of your time because, you know, we know who we came here to see, you know. But just to let you know a few things as far as things that are going to be said here, things that were said here yesterday for those who were here yesterday. If you weren't, things that are going to be said here today and tomorrow. Make sure that we leave here with something. Understand? The ancient Kemites used to say that every day of your life, make sure you learn something new. So make sure you take something away from here today and make it more applicable to your life. You understand? Things started really, me and Brother Dan, I've known him for a number of years now, but I was in Nigeria late last year, early this year, and I was with one of the priests. I got taken to one of the priests. He took me up on this mountain. And we're standing there up in this mountain, there's three of us, and one of the priests was talking to the other priests, like, remember when we were young and we used to sing all these Orisha songs and stuff? All that's gone. Religion has come in and it's taken over, everyone's Muslim and Christian and stuff. And the head priest was facing, it was real, I'm talking a memorable moment, because he was looking at the sun. And the priest behind him was saying, you remember? And he was like, yeah, I remember. And he goes, well, all that's gone. And the priest, I was on this side, and he's gone, well, these are the new gods who are going to bring that back. And he was pointing to me. And I was like, you know, what are you pointing to me? And he's like, yeah, it's you guys. There's no, you know, coincidence that you're here now. You understand? There's a prophecy that needs to be fulfilled, that will be fulfilled, and it's you guys that are going to be bringing it in. And this guy did a reading for me, and he was showing me, like, look, when you get back, there's going to be a whole big movement that's going to be taking place. Only to get back, Brother Darren's gone over to New York, getting the same thing. You understand? And before you know it, we're hooking up. I'm talking like, I've known him for a number of years. We ain't spoken about, what, 8 months, a year? And then 2-2s, everything starts falling into place. You understand? The information starts coming. We'll start linking up. Bobby's got his passport. And before you know it, everything's happening. So it's letting you know that spirit's at work. You understand? And spirit's at work, and definitely something is about to be taking place, something big. I know definitely for myself, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm above you or anything, but I know for myself definitely drastic things are going to be taking place, because as far as, I don't want to be going too deep, you know, Robert Clyde will show you that in astrology, I've got Pluto going over my descendant. So it's over in a specific angle where there's going to be real transformational stages for me. And you understand? And I've been doing a lot of charts for other people and seeing that also. So Pluto is in a very, in a transformational stage right now for the whole world, period. You understand? So we have to be in the right place at the right time. Get in with the seasons. When it's raining outside, you don't wear your summer clothes. And when it's sunny outside, you don't wear your winter clothes. Get in with the cycles and with the seasons, or you miss it. You understand? The whole, everyone's talking about 2012, all coming up. Big ritual about to take place. Bobby mentioned it today on the radio. Big rituals about to take place. You have to make sure that you got your shit correct. Because when the shit really hits the fan, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's playtime. You understand? They had it in the newspaper the other day, 29 youths dead since the year began. Why? I said, that's nothing, it's playtime. I looked at that, I just chucked that to the side. When you start hearing 29 in the day, now you're talking. You understand? Ain't seen nothing yet. So we have to start really getting into our ancient ancestral sciences and start making this, you know, don't be coming here just for get the information, be an information junkie like Phil Valentine puts it. You understand? You've got all the information and you ain't doing nothing with it. Apply it. You understand? I always tell people, voodoo time, magic time. I walk with my tarot cards now 24/7. You understand? I'm getting pulled over by police. I tell them one thing, they're going the other way. Straight up. It's no thing. I've got a van out there, I'll show you now. No tax, no insurance, nothing. That's how I roll. That's it. That's the damn time we're in now. Understand? I don't fear nobody. Tax run out all 3 months ago. And people are saying, yo, brave, where you park the car? I'll park it right here. Nothing gonna happen. You understand? So you have to know when you're doing your shit correct, you ain't got no problem, okay? So without further ado, I'm gonna bring on big bad Bobby Hemmitt.
All things is fair. I want to give a shout out to Sister Rosanna because she was calling me years to try to get me to come. So she was on her job. In so many words, she was the catalyst. You see what I mean? And since she sent out the soldier to do it, so it's always, you know, it's always an element that makes the call. So the great mother made the call. You see what I'm saying? And it was sooner or later it was going to have to manifest. And how it manifests, it don't really matter. The thing here is she made the call just like she made the call with other people that you know, and open this thing up. So we want to give her a big shout out as a person that, you know, brings this particular information to the people. You see what I'm saying? Last but not least is my queen. I gotta recognize her. You can stand on up. It's my queen. I gotta recognize her and recognize her. After this talk, as I said, they did a lot of rituals. They're doing a lot of rituals. She's from the capital city of D.C. And so they did a lot of rituals in D.C. and pretty sooner or later somebody had to incarnate down there. So they did a lot of rituals to Offset in the 1950s, and between 1955 to 1963, Kenneth Grant, which is a British occultist, opened up a new Isis lodge in that particular period. This is in the latter half of the baby boomers, and the stuff that they was doing to Virgo and Offset in Washington, D.C., it incarnates beings like this and stuff. So very powerful being and all like that and all. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about the goddess Lakshmi. And it's interesting because when she moved down to Atlanta in 2004, right after that, the goddess Lakshmi came through. And then all of a sudden, we would go in East Indian restaurants, and all of them would come out and start talking to us. And I said, that's strange, because, you know, they really stick to themselves. You know, so they come out and talking over there, they sense something. They sense this particular power and energy. We go into Asian restaurants and they sense something. So that's the type of God and goddess stuff we're rolling with at this particular time. So with no further ado, we'll get into the and speaking of which, now it is interesting because there are now a lot of new pictures coming out, and as you can see, this is King Tut, a statue of King Tut from his burial chamber. Here is one also. And as you can see, it is not by mistake that they got it blue-black. You see what I'm saying? I tried to lighten this up as much as possible, but the actual print is that way. That's how dark it is. So they were sending a message. They were sending a message that this is a chocolate thing. This is no different than the West African or what have you. In, because, in Kemetic, they try to give you different lighter statues, especially stuff from the Greco-Roman period, and they show those over and over and over again. But it's interesting here because this statue here is kind of popular, but they always show it from the side, but they never ever look you in the face like this one. This one here is looking you in the face and you can see that this is not a European person. You see what I'm saying? This is not a European person. They'll make all kinds of excuses about, the darkness meant something else. Well, it is meant to convey several things, but one of the things it is it's also meant to convey his ethnicity or his racial identity. Now, I want to show you something here, which is very interesting for the people that never saw this before, never seen this on the videos, because I got about 300 of these videos floating around, or more, is this. Obviously, this is the Egyptian robe, and you see the dreadlocks, or what you see the locks. And obviously, this is an African brother, and you see the Egyptian robe. But the funny part about this is coming from Vietnam, Cambodia. You see, from the temple of Angkor Wat. So it's telling you that the ancient Khmer people were an Egyptian line or a Kemetic line. The word Khmer. Khmer is the people from Cambodia, Vietnam. But look at this. Look at the iconology. You go there now to the temple of Angkor Wat, which is a half a mile. I mean, it's miles wide. The whole complex is over 30 miles wide. And you go there now, and yet, did I put the temple of Angkor Wat back? And I'll find one. You go there now in Vietnam, you won't see these statues because they gave all of these statues to a museum in Paris called the museum is called the Kemetic Museum, a little small museum. So everybody goes to Paris, they'll go to the Louvre, and there's a lot of stuff they got in the Louvre. But there's another museum in Paris, and since you're so close to Paris, you should take a trip. You know, get on the train or what have you, get you there in an hour. I don't care how much it costs. So you need to go take a trip to the Louvre, and you also need to go take a trip to this Kemetic Museum. Because what happened was, the Kemetic Museum bought all the Negroid origins, for the lack of a better word, Africoid origins of the Asian people. And these particular statues, they bought them. Like this particular one of Buddha. This particular one of an early form of the Buddha, which there is no doubt that can't be nothing but a brother. See what I'm saying? No doubt that that's nothing but a brother. You see, so here again, and I got several other pictures of this, but here again, this is Egyptian, a Kemetic. And no other race ever put that type of style of hair into action but us. Either braiding it or either letting it dread, or letting it dread up, or letting it lock up. You see, but yet this is in the temple of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, or Vietnam, or what you call the ancient Khmer people. You see, now, I'm going to pull libations because we got to get that out of the way, but I just want to show just a couple other things when we're dealing with that, because I know you all got the tape from Africans in Asia, or it's called Africans in Asia, or Science of Reincarnation. Anyway, it's a guy by the name of Eugene Adams. If you don't have it, we'll make it available to the people. Africa and Asia. And he tells this story of the whole battle of slavery and us going into slavery is on the temple walls of Angkor Wat. Anybody seen this tape? Anybody seen the documentary? Yeah. On the temple wall. So I said, well, when he showed a picture, I said, no, I got to go and find that picture and study that picture. And so I had to go to Chicago. I bought a book for $50 and got an older book for $50 and walked out the door and the book crumbled and all the pages fell out. But it didn't matter because I had the actual page that I needed. I'm going to show two aspects of this. I want to show this one first and see, can you see the African brothers? And I got several other pictures. But this is the African brothers going into battle. Going into battle. So they tell a story that we just didn't sit down and they just took us as slaves and we just laid down and ran from them. There was wars that was fought. And a lot of that is omitted when they tell the story of the slave trade. Because if they tell you that wars was fought, you see, then you'll get an inkling in your head that you might fight when you're oppressed. So it's always to tell you that you went peacefully, and they omit things that there was wars that was fought on the continent. You see, you never hear that of major wars. You just might hear other Africans turning in other Africans and people just running. But you never hear that. And that is the reason for people who colonize you, you see what I'm saying, is to never think that you fight back. And there's several skirmishes. So there's several skirmishes that happened in American slavery, all wiped off the books. So we know of the Maroons. We got a brother that's the descendant of one on the front row. You know, we know of the brothers in Haiti, or what they call Haiti. But we never knew that there was battles that went on the continent. And this is amazing that the Khmer people, or what you call the Cambodians, had an entire temple walls of the battle that went on. And then they showed this picture where they walk us through. This is the picture after the fight. This line is where the battle is going on. Then there's another line, and by the time, so this goes down the hall, and the picture will be probably a block long. And by the time it gets to the second line, we have already lost the war, because the people up here got long hair. They show these long-haired people. And right here are the African slaves in the slave boats and all. It's an amazing picture. And it's an amazing picture. So to recorrect history, I had to go to the spirit world and say, did this really happen? This is too good to be true. And they said, yes, it was. This is an authentic picture of Africans going into slavery on the temple walls in Vietnam. That's some amazing stuff. Then the guy showed a picture. There's a temple called Borobudur on the island of Java. That's off the coast of I think, Thailand. And they got black people on the temple walls drinking liquor and playing saxophones. You saw that on the thing, drinking liquor and shooting dope and playing saxophone. This is a 1,000-year-old temple, Buddhist temple. So I went back to Chicago about a couple of months later and show how the spirit works. And they had a big book on Borobudur. It was probably $150 used. And I picked it up, and the hard cover snapped. And the guy said, well, I can't sell it for that much now. I said, well, how much would you sell it for? He said, 30. I'm like, hell yeah. So I got this particular book, and yes, it has hundreds of pictures, and yeah, they got us on the walls, drinking liquor, shooting dope, and playing saxophones. It's amazing stuff. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if we really dig with our history, things will come up to the point where we won't even believe it. You see what I'm saying? Because the other side of that is we are portrayed as being nothing. So this is just interesting that this would go on. But what we want to do right now, we want to pull to the gods. We're going to get into a whole lot of magic stuff. We'll start some of that up here. But I want to pull to the gods. And I can see if I can find... I'll say it now while it's on my mind. When I pull to the gods, and I'll see it. And so this is some Appleton, Jamaican rum. We had Myers yesterday, but that wasn't able to return because it was intercepted last night by me. Now, there's a bunch of us took the hit off of it. There's about 4 or 5 people took the hit off of it and all, but I finished the rest up after they left and all. So this is good. And I want to thank the brother for giving me this melon, the stuff that's selling the juice out there. That's pretty cool. He handed me some peanut butter stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, come on, I'm getting ready to lecture. You farting and shitting up here. Peanut butter? Run right through me. All right. So anyway, we're going to pour libations, so let's start it off. What we're going to do, because this particular deity here is the deity that is on the scene of the opening of the way. He's the one that removes all obstacles. It's the elephant deity, which is the most popular deity in East India. Remember now, the East Indians is of African origin. Even Indira Gandhi told President Carter in 1979, we are a black nation. Because they got more black people that's in India than damn near any continent in the world. So let it be known, no matter how much the caste system come over and make you think it's other, it's a black nation, it's of a black origin. And they had one girl of the lighter caste system got a job at CNN. And her parents broke down and said, because they saw it, the spirit hit. She got a job at CNN International, and let her know that they didn't want her to lose her identity. And this is the lighter caste system. They told her, remember now, we are of a darker nation, you see, and don't lose your identity. You see what I'm saying? Now, I mean, they might treat you like shit, but remember now, these particular gods and stuff that we're talking about are older than the later day people we find that's leading the caste system. But we do know there is millions of dark-skinned people. And remember, Roanoke Rashidi said he went over in 99 and he spoke to 10,000 black people came out to see him in India. 10,000. He said a week later, a tsunami hit the place and wiped out a bunch of them. That's not by coincidence. That means that the government was threatened that 10,000 Dravidian untouchables would come out to see Roanoke Rashidi. And guess who their heroes were? The Black Panther Party, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. That's who they study, and that's their, so they take heroes of our indigenous past and they raise them up and resurrect them as their heroes and revolutionaries. You see. So right after that, a tsunami hit. You see, right after that, a tsunami hit. Now, I do know that the tsunami, Dr. Delbert Blair was saying that it was hard and different things. Of the last tsunami, one brother called and said, no, brother, we got reports. No animals were killed. The animals, even the elephants in the zoo broke their chains and headed for the hills. Wearing tutus and shit. They broke their chains and headed to the doggone hills. And when that happened, that means that's something that nature is saying. You see what I'm saying? Because whenever it's any type of explosion or any type of thing that's abrupt, the first thing you see is dead fish everywhere. This tsunami, they ain't see no dead fish nowhere. Because the fish went further out past that whole incident. You see what I'm saying? Past that whole incident. But so you got to realize the reason why I'm saying it, because some brothers say, you know, we don't want to mess with the Indian stuff. All that stuff is ours. There is nothing on this planet that's not ours. Like I said on the radio today, the Shang dynasty, which was the first dynasty in China, was started from Shango from Nigeria. You see what I'm saying? The brother Azariah Bey did that research on that. You know, there's nothing. You know, even the suit coat comes from Nigeria. Do you have a suit coat that the white man walking around in? Did you think it is there? You remember the Moors taught them how to dress. They was wearing bear skins when they got over here. You see what I'm saying? Half of them was naked. Go get the movie, what's that movie, The 13th Warrior? That's what you got. You see what I'm saying? So all that royal garb and stuff is nothing but modified Arab, Moorish garb. You see what I'm saying? And all that stuff you see in Spain. So they didn't have any of that until the Moors came. And they stayed over 700 years, so obviously the whole culture had to derive from the 700 years that the Moors was here. You see what I'm saying? Even including the suit coat and different things like that. We're going to get into all that today. Okay, so let's close. So we're going to start this off with Ganesha. So now, we got about 40 of these, so you need to get a hold to a Ganesha, because he removes obstacles. The other month, I was in the house broke, like, dang, what's going on? A brother named Panic called, said, Ganesha said, because I had a couple of Ganesha statues. They said, put him in a bowl and give him a curry bath. Gave him a curry bath. Bring, the phone just started ringing. Money just started coming in. You see what I'm saying? You know, he opens obstacles. You know, the elephant deity. And also, you give him a curry bath. What's that, brother?
Did you say curry?
Yeah, curry. So you take the curry. Just take, you know, you got even Jamaican curry. Take the curry. Boil the curry in some water and stick his statue down up in there.
Ganesh is also Mercury energy also.
Let's see, well that's, but you know what's interesting here, that I want to say this too. The ancient word of Mercury is Mercurus. And if you study it, in the alchemical term, it means melanin. Because also Tahuti is also the god of melanin and wisdom, and he was also a god, Mercury. So when Mercury is in retrograde, it actually works for us, but because you are told that it works against you, you manifest it working against you. It's almost like black people who didn't know nothing about Mercury in retrograde never caught no hell. It's only when you learned about it, oh, Mercury in retrograde, I can't do this and I can't do that. And Mercury lines up with the melanin. You see what I'm saying? Lines up with the melanin. There's nothing in retrograde from the original substance. The original substance is all. You see, so my point here is it's just a matter of how you direct it with your mindset. And that's what we're talking about, changing the way you think. Y'all all right? Yeah. Okay. I have to, I'm trying, see what it is interesting here because I'm dealing with different cultures. And ain't nothing wrong with that. I just have to pinpoint what I'm dealing with here. You all are trained to be very observant. You listen a lot. I noticed that. I'm saying, damn. I said, am I bombing here? Something going on? I'm trying to figure this shit out. And they said, no, they listen. I said, oh, no, they're analyzing, they're listening a lot. I said, oh, that's that island thing and that's that British thing. But in America, we were trained in the call and response in the church. So everything is emotional. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I tell you, brother, you know what all this. So when I'm listening to it, I'm thinking about it, I'm saying, well, wait a minute, I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm realizing, oh, wait a minute, hold on. This is just another way. You see, they listen and they analyze on a certain level, whereas we get into the spirit based on emotion. Not necessarily saying one is superior to the other. It's just, I just recognize now based on being in different, because when I went to Canada, they was doing the same thing. You see what I'm saying? They was doing the same thing. And I realized what that is, and I guess you take more in. You see what I'm saying? Because we some information junkies over the way. You see what I'm saying? But they fix through the information. So that's almost like that call and response. They're like they're going to church. You see what I'm saying? So it's just interesting how certain things happen. Just noticing things. So we're talking about Ganesha. We're going to give a shout out to him first because he opens the way. And so this is how I know in the spirit world. When I was doing the pictures, and let me explain this before I do it. These pictures up here, so the people, because one sister in Cleveland, Ohio said, when you selling Xerox pictures, what makes, I can go in a book and get them. I said, no, you can't go in a book and get these. I said, because the book that I got them out of called $90 for a used book. I might pay $100. I learned that from a lot of the scholars. You can pay $100 for a used book with one picture in it. But the picture is so valuable till the money means nothing because it's worth 1,000 words. You see what I'm saying? Like this particular, I paid $100 for the book that has this in it. You see what I'm saying? But it was stuff that they take to, they go to India. You want to get rid of your black portion of your history? Yeah, we got to hide this shit. Well, they sell it to this museum in France. So the people in India, the people in Cambodia, people in Thailand, they want to get rid of that Africanized or that Africard features, and they selling this stuff to France. So all kind of Masonic white people can go through and study this stuff in France. They go to the smaller museum to learn the real history. You see what I'm saying? But these people are embarrassed. You see what I'm saying? The light caste system Indians that run the stuff, or the modern Asians. So they'll ship all this stuff over there. So this book comes out. The book's printed in the 70s. You see what I'm saying? I get it. I got to pay $150 used for the book, but that's not the point. This is worth $1 million just to show our people that an Egyptian man with dreadlocks, with a Kemetic, with an Egyptian Kemetic robe in Cambodia, that's worth $1 million. You see what I'm saying? So the value of spending $150 for a book, you see, that's nothing. You see, that's nothing compared to what's really going on. So I paid $40 for this book, and if it was a hardback book, it would have been $150 for used, but I paid $40, and I walked out the door, and you know how you stump your foot, right? Like there's a little thing right there when you're crossing at the door, like a little beam, and I stumped my foot, and the book fell open, and all the pictures just flew out the book. The binding just broke, but it didn't matter though, because I had this picture. I'll explain what that is. Like I said, of these people going into slavery, worth $1 million. You see what I'm saying? Just to get that. So let's go to so these pictures, these rare pictures that we're going to try to unload. These rare pictures are more than just pictures. I had to pay hundreds of dollars, okay, just to get some of these particular pictures. You see, just to get some of these particular pictures and all, you know. So don't think that they're just some stuff that I just conjured up. And they got a lot of magic to them. A lot of magic to them. Remember I said I used to work for this millionaire. He worked in the AU Center. That's the black colleges in Atlanta, Georgia. Got my 5 of them. So I used to go in there, and used to be a hangout spot when I was in college there. So after I got out of school, I was designing shoes for a white boy in New York. And he said, well, look, go back home and get some black investors so we can start this thing up. So when I went back to Atlanta, I'm getting the black investors for him. I needed a job. The brother stepped to me and said, yo, man, I need you to work in my store. He sells hamburger and chicken and all this stuff here. I need you to work in my store. You know, because you got a good interaction with the students because you used to be one. And I paused for a minute. And I paused for a minute. The brother said, oh, no, okay, now. You in my store talking all that black shit every day. Now you tell me you are afraid to work for the black man when you know you need the money. I said, I'll be to work on Monday morning. So I worked for him for 4 years, money under the table, unlimited cash, and I bought a library because it was unlimited cash with this cat. And one day he made the mistake, about 2 years after me working, in the summertime, got cheap, told me to go get on the goddamn grill. Because, you know, I used to just pass the food out, take the orders, and had camaraderie with the students. That was my thing. They would come in there for me. But one day he said, go get on the grill. So I was cooking shit. I learned how to cook over the couple of years, you know, short order stuff by just running back in the kitchen cooking me something to eat. And I got on the fucking grill. I got on the grill, and the food came out good. He said, oh, shit, you can cook? So he put me on the grill the next week. And one day I left the store and got down the street. When I left the store was on fire. That's what you do by putting a non-professional on the grill. Being cheap. So there's some type of grease trap, and you're supposed to put the grease down, but I put too much grease in this grease trap, and the stove caught on fire, and the grease, when you know, grease, it don't out with water, it just burns. So the rumor was that Bobby burnt down the damn stove, but anyway, the kitchen burned up, and the wall in the kitchen on the side of the stove burned up, but I had these Egyptian pictures on the wall, and the wall behind the Egyptian pictures was charcoal, and the pictures was laying on the wall, not burned up. That's the kind of power that this stuff happened. That's why the Egyptians used these images. These images resonate power. So don't think because you get a picture, it ain't got no power to it. You know, and it costs a Bible. Your pictures is on the charcoal charred wall, and they're not burned up. You see what I'm saying? The clock was melted. His business license was melted. But the pictures weren't, so that's, you know, so that's how that is. So let's pour some libations, you know, too. First we're going to start off with Ganesha. Ganesha. I say Lakshmi. I say Vishnu. I say Shiva. I say Seshet. I say Osa. I say Anubis. I say Tahuti. I say Tut. I say Aset. I say Sekhmet. I say Maya. I say Seset. I say Heru. I say Kali. I say Matingi. I say Rama. I say Sita. I say Hanuman. I say Durga. I say Rudra. I say Dembalawedo. I say Aidowedo. I say Aguai. I say Erzuli. I say Erzuli Frida. I say Apashet. I say Bass. I say Button. I say Dadun. I say Otisha. I say Tiesha. I say Ashumala. I say Lokeo. Macumbo. Alfil Lukea. Labado. Zarabanda. Maja de Agua. Maja de la Luna. Mama Shola. Freya. I say La Santísima Muerte, La Santísima Pipa Eman. I said, La Spiritual Tranquilos. I said, San Simón. I said, El Cristo Negro. I said, El Cristo Rey. I said, Zalbanda. I said, Kumbanda. I said, Umbanda. I said, Cindy. I say, what's this other guy name? Lucero. I say, Bass. I say, Kamsu. I say, Mintu. I say, Mintu Sira. I say, Ramanatu. I say, Escalanza. I say, Baphomet. I say, Bashitan. I say, Meletas. I say, Hewas. I say, Okas. I say, Abbas. I say, Bam. I say, Cthulhu. I say, Shemitra. I say, Hester. I say, Yodato. I say, Nirlin Hotep. I say, Azathoth. I say, Azazel. I say, Samaza. I say, the Netters, Titans, Tahuti. I say, let's do a few more. Tahuti. I say, Heru. I say, Heru. I say, Hasefi. I say, Hamakis. I say, Hamaku. I say, Hercules. I say, Hermes. I say, Areskagul. I say, Ishtar. I say, Monu. I say, Noku. I say, Mana. I say, Titi. I say, Joba. I say, Inmatu. Let's see. Aphrodite. Ashe. Kuan Yin. Ashe. Terra. Ashe. Apit. Ashe. Tyre. Ashe. Shutnesset. Ashe. Shutnes. Ashe. Shutnesset. Ashe. Let's see. I was gonna give a shout out to Legba. Ashe. Ogun. Ashe. Oshun. Ashe. Gibanya. Ashe. Watala. Ashe. Arumala. Ashe. Oya. Ashe. And I guess they are for all gods known and unknown. Ashe. All ancestors known and unknown. Ashe. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Start calling out your ancestors that's passed on. 1, 2, 3. Ashe. 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 To all ancestors known and unknown. Ashe. All right. Let's do this. This, as you know, they showed this particular thing on the internet. This is taken from the Hubble telescope in 2006. And as you can see, they're showing in the Milky Way galaxy is a perfect DNA spiral in the Milky Way galaxy. The 2 DNA spirals. Now they've found 12 more of these, but they're not telling the people. They're only showing the 2. But nevertheless, just for the galaxy to have a perfect DNA spiral means that is something that's lining up on the inside of us. You see, lining up on the inside of us. You see, which is interesting here because this is the same concept. Down by the Wado and Aida Wado, which is 2 twin serpents in the Voodoo pantheon, which is also talking about the DNA going to a higher level. So not only is these are two gods and goddesses, but this is also a symbol that's venerated to say that one day this DNA thing, and you see the stars among it, this DNA thing will reign supreme. Well, here you see stars, and you see the DNA, but yet you see this in the ancient African and ancient Dahomean symbology also, which is showing you that prophecy is being fulfilled. Because when you see that in the sky, which has been there since 2006, maybe a little longer, it might have been there since the beginning of the millennium. But they wait to show us things. But nevertheless, anything that's going out in space is going on inside of our body. So the apocalypse will not occur on the outside. You will only see it when it comes to weather and animal behavior. How many people live in houses? Because we got apartment dwellers and we got house dwellers. Anybody live in homes? All right. Say, okay. So, let me do this from my throat. I'll take a drink to that. Anything y'all could ever think of out there for me to take a sip too, will accommodate you. That's what the old man told me one day. Yeah, the president gave me a job to drink up all the liquor to see what effect it got on you young people. But that's his butt. The apocalypse is going on the inside of our bodies. Now, I told you about this book yesterday. It's a book called Revelations of John Divine. And this particular book is a very unique book. And the reason why I always, although we deal with the Kemetic stuff, and I'm well versed in that, but I always love it when we get something pertaining to the Bible that goes beyond the conventional sense of the religion and goes into the metaphysical realm. Because we know everybody up in here is well versed in that Bible. Before you was fancy anything, you was a damn Christian. And if you was a Muslim all your life, you still was a Christian, because that ain't nothing but the same thing. Same first 5 books of Moses. So everybody has some link that's a common origin. Just like we got the English language, you got the Bible. You see what I'm saying? So don't front on it now, because we're sophisticated. You see what I'm saying? Now the key here is to take the Bible and to see how you can link it back to Kemetic. There's a book called, let me get the name of this book. It's an excellent book. The guy's name is Gary Greenberg. And the name of the book is called 101 Myths of the Bible. Where they show, well, here's Samson in the Bible. Well, he showed that's Ra-Heru-Kahudi in the Egyptian. You see, so they show you all the parallels and where they come by. So my point here is this. Your Christian upbringing is not for you to abandon what you have learned. It is for you to enhance what you have learned by trying to find deeper insights into the new information coming in. So my point is because you are well versed in the Christianity, you can relate to when you find something metaphysical or esoteric in the Christianity, because you've already gotten that, the precursor to that. You see how this thing goes? You see, you don't throw no baby out with the bathwater. You see, so this particular book, The Revelation of John Divine, The Path to the Soul Initiation, by Zachary F. Lansdowne, Landowne. This particular book show you all of the stuff in Revelation, then they'll show you the chakra systems, the kundalini, the third eye. You see what I'm saying? The soul, meditation. You see, so it breaks it down on that particular level, so anybody can relate to that. And that's one thing that we do have in common. Not just as black people, but just about everybody in the modern world is basically has some in the Western world, some run in with Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. You see what I'm saying? All those things were fragments from the mystery schools in the first place. You see, so you just have to, just get out of the whole taking the Bible word for word in times when things don't even make no damn sense. You know what I'm saying? On that particular level. But to understand that when it doesn't make sense, it's because it's mean to be explained on another esoteric level. You get that? Y'all all right? Okay. Anybody heard of The Secret? Remember, that's the big phenomenon 2 years ago. The Secret. Even made it to Oprah. The Secret. When I first heard it, I said they didn't do shit but take a book called The Kabbalion and took one of the laws out of the Kabbalion.
Exactly.
You see, which is the laws of attraction. Well, the guy that taught us the Kabbalion is a brother by the name of C. Freeman L., one of our great scholars, and he just made the transition back in March. The day he made the transition, because he always taught us about the Kabbalion. So when The Secret came out, I knew the Kabbalion by the 3 initiates. I knew that's where these people got the laws of attraction trying to front like it's a damn secret. You see, and like you got to go through them or some mystical shit that they done came up with when they just basically took there's 7 Hermetic laws, they took one of them. But the book is called the Kabbalion. So the day, and C. Freeman L. used to talk on that book. He used to talk on that book, and he also talked on a book, he was writing a book on astrology of the Bible. to show that it was an astrological book. And so the day he passed, a book came out called The Gospel of the Zodiac. I said, damn, so like somebody wrote his book for him. Because he always, I said, well, damn, when you going to finish this book? He said, no, I'm writing about 700 or 800 pages so niggas won't copy my shit. He said, they'll get discouraged from copying my stuff. I do a big book. I don't have to worry about copying my stuff and selling it on the street. I said, you must ain't heard the damn Azariah. That nigga copied a 700, 800 page with the old agnostic workbook. I said, you know, page for page until he got it and could run it off. I say, so that don't discourage black people. But anyway, he never got to finish his book. And then the day he died, the book comes out, The Gospel of the Zodiac. Another book, he talked about the Kabbalion. So the day he died, this book came out called The Secret Source. The Secret Source. And it says, you got a picture of it? Yeah. Okay. And it says, the laws of attraction is just one of the 7 Hermetic laws. Here are the other 6. And it's by Maja, M-A-J-A, what's this? Diaust. So that's M-A-J-A, D'-A-O-U-S-T. And Adam Parfrey, P-A-R-F-R-E-Y. It's called The Secret Source. And it's basically the Kabbalion with the other laws put back in it and an extension of these Hermetic laws. So it's an excellent book also to get. It's an excellent book. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Can you say that again?
Huh?
Can you say that again, the name of the authors?
The authors is Maja, M-A-J-A, D'-A-O-U-S-T. And it's 2 authors, and Adam, A-D-A-M, Parfrey, P-A-R-F-R-E-Y, Parfrey. Parfrey. So it's an excellent book. It's an excellent book. You can go to some East Indian places. I implore you to get a book on Ganesha. Now, I'm not going to even try to pronounce these fucking Indian names, so I'm going to give you the title. in book finding, you need the title or the author. So I'm not going to try to damn embarrass myself up here with my ebonics. This is Ganesha, which is this deity. And the name of the book is Ganesha, the auspicious, the beginning. Don't ask me how to spell auspicious. Ganesha, the auspicious, the beginning. And this is all a book on Ganesha because his cycle is in now. Ganesha is an elephant East Indian form of Anubis. Anubis is the opener of the way. Ganesha is the one that removes obstacles. So, this is a book that you can go, and I'm quite sure there's plenty of places, East Indian bookstores or what have you, that you can go and get this stuff from. But any book you can get on Ganesha at this particular time, because it's his cycle. It's his cycle. And because Africa has the biggest elephants, there's that connection. You see what I'm saying? There's that connection. So I want you to get a hold of that. Let's see if I can find this other picture that I was dealing with. Y'all all right? Yeah. Okay. To move right along, I'm going to give you a couple of things. We all know, and as I showed yesterday with the Pope and the red shoes and the bloodline when he came over to have a secret meeting with Obama. We all know that they deal with high magic. And this is a book that just came out, the first of the year. It's called Papal Magic, the Occult Practices of the Catholic Church. So it deals with what they deal with. So you remember now, the Vatican has all kind of artifacts from around the world. The guy Simon, they wrote a book called the Necronomicon years ago. As a matter of fact, 31 years ago or 30 years ago, they wrote the Necronomicon. The guy Simon. Well, this is another book that came out 30 years later called Papal Magic. And this particular book shows you all the occult sciences that they deal with, and they deal with that particular magic. So they might tell you not to mess with that. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't want you to usurp the power, but they mess with the magic. You see what I'm saying? So the first thing happened was, there was a guy, the woman wrote a book called A Mark of Voodoo. Her name is Sharon Calder. Wrote a book called A Mark of Voodoo. She went down to Benin, Africa, and stayed with this voodoo priest for a couple of years. And in the middle, before this voodoo priest died, Pope John Paul calls the voodoo priest, along with calling the voodoo priest in Africa, calling the Dalai Lama, and calling all these spiritual leaders from around the world to come in and do some stuff to help save the planet for the millennium, because they didn't know whether they was going to be here or not. So they tell you that voodoo is evil, but what the hell is Pope John Paul and them calling the voodoo priest in Benin, Africa? You see what I'm saying? There's a whole movie called The Order with the guy that just died recently. What's that guy's name? He's going to play the Joker.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger did a movie back in 2002 or 2003 called The Order. And in that movie, they showed what the Catholic Church was really involved in was all kind of magic. Heath Ledger, The Order. You see what I'm saying? So in this particular one, this book exposes all of those particular occult practices and stuff like that. And basically, it's our material. So I'm not saying it's negative or evil. I'm just trying to say some of the stuff up in there you can use to work yourself, because you've been inducted into Christianity by way of the Pope years ago, called Constantine, who made Christianity popular and killed his mother and his doggone wife. You see, that's the father of Christianity, killed his mother and his wife. You know, I can see you can get mad at your wife for killing your mother. You see, sometimes you might say, hey, you know, some shit happens, but your mama? It's a whole nother thing. You see. So that's what this is. Okay, we're going to be dealing with magic tomorrow, but I want you to get this book called The Magic Household. The Magic Household. Spells and Rituals for the Home by Scott Cunningham and David Harrington. Scott Cunningham and David Harrington. The Magic Household. The Magical Household. This is the book you need to get, because that's what you're going to have to start lining up your homes with. All this is remember now, these Wiccan and all these people, see, in the bigger thing, we look and say, that's tragic, you know, these people are doing our rituals. No, but in the omniverse, they look it down and say, these people preserve this so that you could have it later on. Because what happens is this. Whenever a practice starts to die, and it dies out, those entities need to be called on, or they need practices, or they get reabsorbed back into the chaos sphere, or the universe, or the chaos sphere. So they need, that's why they say that the gods need their names to be called. When you call their names, they live. That's what libation is about. You see what I'm saying? So I'm one of their best friends, because I was calling on deities that were asleep for thousands of years. You see what I'm saying? They didn't like it at first. Somebody waking you, you've been asleep 1,000 years, and somebody waking you up. But after a while, it became an ally. After I woke them up, they were like, well, goddamn, we got to depend on this nigga to call our name in these lectures. You see what I'm saying? You see, so the magical household. Now, one of the things about the magical household, and this is what you need to do to open up a vortex to another dimension. One way to open up a vortex to another dimension is to get you a cauldron. I see a cauldron, a little black witch pot. You know the pot? A cauldron. That's a gateway to another universe. Either the Ogun pot or the Zarabanda pot. That's one way. But another way is something as simple as this. And the only thing you got to do for those people who have automobiles is to get up and ride around the rich neighborhoods. And the reason why they got money and you don't, is you'll see this on every one of their doors. A wreath. Outside of Christmas. They always have a wreath on the doors, because the wreath is a gateway to another universe, or a gateway for prosperity and spirits to come in. So put a wreath on your door, even if you're in an apartment. Put a wreath on your front door. We got one on our front door, and it did it opened up a whole nother dimension. And you'll go to these people, and I guarantee you ride out, it'll be hot summer, July, and go up in the rich neighborhood and see how many people got wreaths on their door. All those people got wreaths on their doors, and white folks is witches. Doing the magic. You see what I'm saying? Doing the magic. So So this is very interesting here. To put a wreath on, it's more powerful. You can go to most stores, you know, we got Walmart and Target in America, and they sell wreaths. So go to whatever stores you all have and try to find you some wreaths, or go to thrift shops or whatever. If that don't work, make you a wreath. You see what I'm saying? But put that wreath on your door. You see, and the one you make is even more powerful. So you can basically take a wreath that's already made and add certain things to it. You see what I'm saying? Y'all all right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but get this particular book, The Magical Household by Scott Cunningham. Spirit, spells, and rituals for the home. Very key. Moving right along. Let's see where we're going with this. Okay. There's another book called Spiritual Technology of Ancient Egypt, just came out. Can't think of the guy, I don't have the author name, but you just need the name of the book. Spiritual Technologies of Ancient Egypt. And he reenacted this picture from the Temple of Seti I on the temple walls. A couple of books had, Rumble Melchizedek book has it. But, and Christopher Dunn. But this book, Spiritual Technologies from Ancient Egypt, is a book that you need to get, because what happened was there's this fight that's going on in the white community. The white community, just like we have certain things, you had, Marcus Garvey versus W.E.B. Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois versus Booker T. Washington. You got these families, Malcolm versus Martin. Well, white folks have the same type of thing. They had Swallow the Lubitz, was the one that went into Egypt and said, hey, this shit ain't about no burials and burials of Pharaoh. This is high advanced science. So the French government, they don't never want the people to know that the ancient Kemites was into the most advanced science on the planet, because the whole key to let you think that this civilization is the greatest of all is that they're the ones supposed to always come up with something. And they will come and dig in our papyruses and dig in our ancient texts and find some stuff out of 100 years before, and will wait 100 years until they find out a way to figure out the scientific way that they can give it to you in their methodology. But have had this stuff 100 years before. But say, hold off on that until we learn how to do it with our modern science and whatever we deal with to make it ours. We'll hold off on this particular science. But they've had our stuff in papyruses for those hundreds of years. So Swallow the Lubitz explained in his book, The Temple of Man, Sacred Science, Wisdom of the Temple, Esoteric Symbol, The Symbol and Symbolic, R.A. Swallow the Lubitz. What he explained was they were the most advanced scientists on the planet. And so as a result, the French government called him a crackpot. So they sent out a guy, and his job was to discredit R.A. Swallow the Lubitz. So they had these fights in the newspapers in the 40s and in the 50s. So that this guy, whatever this guy's name was, to discredit him. But what happened was the guy got in a car wreck and died. And so therefore, R.A. Swallow the Lubitz stuff got out to the main public and was legitimized. But to this day, a lot of scientists don't want to give him credit, and as a result, there's a whole intelligentsia group started from his son-in-law, John Anthony West. Got a whole 10-tape series out called Magical Egypt. But John Anthony West has a whole intelligentsia group that is going against the scientists and saying, no, this stuff from Kemet and this stuff is all spiritual, because that leads back to African spirituality. So now they got a whole, so one of the guys that come out with a book is called The Science of the Dogon. What's that guy's name? The Science of the Dogon. Laird Scranton. He got a new one out now on the Dogon and hieroglyphics, and showing that the whole meta thing and the Dogon thing, the linguistics and how that all ties in. That's his new book, Laird Scranton. But he got the first book, Science of the Dogon. But he's one of these guys that's on the Lubitz side, headed up under John Anthony West, which is Swallow the Lubitz's son-in-law. So as a result, this other guy, I think is David Wasowski, but don't worry, you just need the name of the book. It's called Spiritual Technology of Ancient Egypt. And in his book, he decided, hey, these white folks want to argue. So what I'm going to do to make the argument to kick them in the ass is I'm going to use the work that's already been done for us by the Afrocentric scholars. So what the white boy did was, he said, well, hell, the Afrocentric scholars already kicked him in the butt 10, 15, 20 years ago. So he started, so he put George G.M. James in his new book. See what I'm saying? Then he put Gerald Massey, which is the British scholar that white folks said for persona non grata. Only black people use Gerald Massey. You see. And so he put, and then he put Mark Bernardo, Black Athena, in his book. And then he said, well, when y'all fish around with that, I'm going to come out with the real TNT shit on your ass. So if you don't dig that, he said, I got a nigga that you're going to have to run from. So he throws down with Sheikh Anta Diop, which means it's irrefutable. Sheikh Anta Diop puts the screws in the nigga ass and he can't run nowhere. So this white boy is using Sheikh Anta Diop in the book. Then it's called Spiritual Technology Egypt. And then at the end of the book, he puts this page back, resurrects this page of spaceships, helicopters, boats, and all kind of futuristic cars. That means we're going to have shit look like that. You see what I'm saying? If we ain't already had it. I told a nigga back in 1990, I want to go back to Egypt with a boom box. See how they like? He said they might pull out their boom box on your ass. Nothing new under the sun, only that which has been forgotten. You see what I'm saying? You know. So, the brother told so we know it's taboo. It's taboo for an older race of Rastas to go down to the Y. And you know what I'm talking about. Licking on that clit. Oh, we don't do that, man. You think it's the white boy shit and you don't know knowledge. The East Indians got the Kama Sutra, but it comes from tantric cults of pre-dynastic Egypt. And show how stuff go around. The British colonized the East Indians, and they get the Kama Sutra. Now they've already traced this back to the tantric thing back to pre-dynastic Egypt. And in the Kama Sutra, you see what I'm saying? They see oral sex in the Kama Sutra. So the Europeans start doing the oral sex following the Kama Sutra from the 1800s, especially the British. It goes across the water to America, and the white folks there got a new style. It catch on, and when we look at it, we say, oh, that's some white boy stuff. No, that's some black man shit that you forgot. All your nutrition comes from that. See what I'm saying? I don't eat no pussy. Wait, you'll eat pig guts. No, wait a minute, come on. We got niggas eat pig guts. Pig ass. Pig ass. And you eat a hot dog, you might be eating pig pussy. You can't lick on your wife's or your girlfriend. Look, it's real simple. Let me explain the mechanism, how powerful this shit is. I showed you this yesterday. We have to keep going back to this because ultimately it's all about this. Like I said, there's your labia. For people don't know, that's your lips of the vagina. There's the clitoris. There's the tunnel. There's the G-spot. See what I'm saying? There's the G-spot. Now, I don't even want to even try to research what that is down at the bottom. I'm not really interested. There's only a limit that I can go to.
I'll do that.
Yeah, try, yeah. Let's put you on that assignment. Let them run your ass out. Because I know a nigga now. They're talking about licking booty so I'm not going there with it. But, nevertheless, let me explain this to you. What goes on? What goes on? The vagina is an intelligence. So when you grow hair down near the vagina, or the pubic hair, the intelligence says, we will send all toxins and stuff and clean out so that the hair can catch it. You see, so that's the pair of underwear for the vagina. That's why you don't need to wear underwear. Now, when you shave the vagina, the intelligence says, well, we don't need to send the toxins and the clean out stuff that causes the odor in the hair. We don't need to send that anymore, so we can bring it out through the pores. It's a whole mechanism, whole ecological system. Whole ecological system. And then there is absolutely positively no smell. You see what I'm saying? After a couple of weeks, none of that, because it sends a message, well, the hair is not down here now to trap that, so therefore we'll send all the stuff out through the pores, the anus, or what have you. So there's absolutely positively no smell. You see what I'm saying? No smell. Then it says, well, it is meant now for nutrients for healing. See what I'm saying? So that's the thing about knowledge. Knowledge, if I came in here and gave you some stuff to validate what you already know, I have failed to give you knowledge. Knowledge is not based on what you know. Knowledge is supposed to be something, when it's new, it's supposed to be strange and ridiculous until you work your mind around it, or you have to come to it. You understand where I'm coming from here? Mm-hmm. So knowledge is supposed to be strange. You see what I'm saying? It's supposed to be strange. So the master this thing. When you shave it, if the brother's worried about the smell, it's a whole mechanism. When you shave it, it sends a signal to the vagina. Well, there's no more hair down here to catch those toxins or what have you when you clean out. And so therefore, what happens here is it starts sending other vaginal fluids. You see what I'm saying? This thing is so advanced. It's so advanced until the doctors in America and even in Europe admitted in 2003, we absolutely don't know nothing about the female reproductive system and the female womb. It will take us another 100 years just to even get close to it. That's how much a vast mystery it is. You see what I'm saying? You see, so my point here is, when you are colonized or oppressed people, you become the most conservative people. You see what I'm saying? And you will say, oh, that's nasty. Nasty is based on your perspective of what's nasty. What's that, brother?
Do you know about starfire?
Yeah. That's just Kundalini energy.
Can you enlighten us a bit more on that?
Yeah, I will. That's just Kundalini energy.
And I'd like to say, I respect what you're saying because obviously it was a multitude thing, but I have a theory on the fact that the man and woman, a woman has no break. You know that a man has a break between, obviously he has a penis and he's got his anus. A woman has no breaking point. I mean, a woman has no barrier between the two, so both fluids get exchanged. And that's why it's more taboo, I think, in London.
That's just it though. You're looking for, see, this is where things break down when we look at science. Because when it comes to Western civilization, they always teach you the science based on a physiological attribute. There's a metaphysical attribute. There is a breaking in the metaphysical attribute. And what I just explained a few minutes ago proves that. When they shave, you see what I'm saying? Something else occurs. It's no different than any other type of exercise you will do to get a certain result from the body. But the point I'm trying to say here is what the European don't understand, and now the Western person, I don't want to put it all on the European. This thing is everybody's ignorant. What we don't understand these days, because we've lost so much variations of knowledge, and that didn't come from the European. That came from years of us just going to sleep. But the point what we don't understand here, there's a whole spiritual aspect of that. And a lot of times we try to take into account what is the physiological aspect, but we don't understand there's a whole other dimension. In the book of the law, they say that the temple has burnt down, but there's an invisible temple. Give me an example. For example, people get their leg cut off, and the mama coming in, she got diabetes, she get both legs cut off, and she'll come up in the house one night in the wheelchair, and the daughter come in, and she say, my legs, my feet, my toes is itching. They call it phantom pain. You see what I'm saying? But what they don't realize here is, for every physical aspect, there's an astral aspect, or etheric aspect, and that is reality. So even when you see an aura around a person, that's coming from the astral body. So therefore, you might cut off the physical aspect. Doesn't necessarily mean that the intelligence and the feelings and everything is not in the astral body. So a lot of times, so you can't never say the end of something based on the physiological point of view, because that's what metaphysics is. We're teaching that there's stuff way beyond that. You see what I'm saying? We're teaching this stuff way beyond that. And that's one of the keys. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when we're talking about these things on these mysteries of the woman. And the mysteries of the man. There's a lot of this stuff we have to get through. But then again, on the other hand, we can't just stop based on what makes sense physically. That's the first level. There's spiritual aspects. And exactly what I was explaining about different things when you do certain things in your body will make reactions. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let me show you something right here. I just realized this. I've been showing this for 2 or 3 years. But I know this shit got power. Because the Ethiopians do it, and a lot of Jamaicans do it coming off the island. And a lot of the Caribbean people do it coming off the island when they don't get so sophisticated. It might not be at this level. The Ethiopians do this. Ethiopian when they do this, they got it to a high-tech level. But like I say, don't frown at something that you don't understand. Look. This is a picture of a woman's foot. This is an Ethiopian woman's foot. Ethiopian women grow their toenails long and they paint them and all this type of stuff. Now, the first level is that is a form of eroticism. It's a form of eroticism. But, okay, yeah, about 5 minutes. But what they're showing here is there's different levels of the length of the toenail, and there's different systems and different things that the body responds to. You see what I'm saying? The Ethiopians do it, and you can see some, and this is eroticism also, and this is some stuff that come all the way back from ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt. So there's several levels of stuff, and although there's a physiological level, there's a metaphysical link on things like this that happen. Now all you got to do is experiment on it. Well, obviously, this has to be people of royalty, because you can't work and put on regular shoes and your shit like that. For you women that don't work, try it out, at least this summer. You know, when you can wear the sandals or whatever. I know it's a little colder up here. You see, it's 90 degrees in Atlanta, Georgia, in America. But my point here is, we're trying to show there's several things that might have several spiritual reactions. You see what I'm saying? So my point here, you said, well, how can that be spiritual? But we are now in becoming the gods and the goddesses again. So obviously this might have something to do with the gods and the goddesses, like these goddesses Sekhmet, which is the cat deity. You see what I'm saying? So the cat deity, or the lion, so you grow you some lion claws. And there's all kind of metaphysical things and magical things. You see what I'm saying? Magical things. But the key here is your mind has to be open. And the only reason why you would have something, these are archetypes of stuff that is forgotten. You see what I'm saying? It's just like black people in the ghetto in America wearing the big earrings. And then they got the book Africa Adorned. And Africa Arca, you go to Africa and they got on the big earrings. This is in the genetic memory bank. Nothing is never lost. You see, nothing is never lost. Just trying to show you other aspects of things. What time? How much time we got? Huh? 3 minutes. Let me put this up here because I want to say this again. I said it yesterday. This is coming from the Zohar. The Zohar is talking about the Moorish destiny. And it says, the beings who live below say that God is on high, while the angels in heaven say that God is on earth. You see. Now this is one that's coming from a book called UFO's Friend of Foe. This is about 10, 15 years old when I did this, so you know how it is. But it says the insectoid powers, this is from a white man. He even came to a UFO convention and they asked him where he got it from and stuff like that. He said that the insectoid powers fears the black races and has kept them subjugated and confused, for they hold the key to knowledge. Their genetic clan information is needed to unlock the advanced secrets of Sirius data, the segmented data that unites also carried by the Indian clans, such in which originally from the fourth planet from the star system Sirius. So what this stuff is talking about, the Kemetic clan, they talk about your DNA. And this is written by white folks. And this is what we talking about this whole time, about this legacy. Go in this Camelot thing when we take the break, after the break. You see what I'm saying? But this is what this is talking about based on this legacy. I want to bring this back up. This is printed in a book called UFO's Friend of Foe. I can't think of the guy's name, but the book is still in print. They got a lot of stuff in this particular book. What's that, brother?
Yeah, because what they do over here, the police and so on, right? When they stop a lot of people, they demand their DNA.
Yes, here? Yeah, okay.
And also, the children, they attack our children as well.
Right.
They take their pictures.
Their DNA, they're trying to find this genetic blood strain. You see what I'm saying? But they can't do nothing with it. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, they have cited you as the people. You see what I'm saying? In this particular document here, and this guy came to the U.S., they had a black woman in Detroit, her name was Elaine, put on a UFO conference back in 1994, and she put on the conference just to invite this white man so that he could tell her where he get this information from. You see what I'm saying? And he said a few things to her. He was a little conservative. Not that he didn't want to give it to her, because he was a little conservative because he didn't have no backup. Not backup as far as knowledge, but backup based on nobody backing him, or he don't get his ass killed. You see what I'm saying? He didn't have no fruit of Islam or what have you behind him. You see what I'm saying? We gone?
Yeah,
that's it?
No, it's got a minute.
Yeah, I got a minute. So I just want to put that to let you know this is all, like I say, is documented in a book called UFO's Friend of Foe, and it's still in print. So you just need to get the book just for that paragraph. Some powerful stuff. You see what I'm saying? And just try to study on what that is talking about. You see, y'all all right? Mm-hmm. Am I boring you? No. Okay then, I just want to know now. See, I just want to know. I'm just, it's a whole other game, and all, but it's all good. Okay. And that's to find out your higher self. Initiation for the heroes gamblers, that's a sun ritual. The initiation for the beloved, now that's a love ritual there now. Love ritual. I don't know about y'all. Y'all might be in better shape. But the people the sisters in America, black women in America, it's 70% of black women ain't got nobody. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you talk about some genocide, you know what I'm saying? Good thing my queen came, because it was so many women, so little time. And she rescued me because I was getting ready to have me a roster, a national registrar. You see, so that's a love ritual. And there's one on healing. There's one on healing, and then there's one talking about totem. That's the animal integration. So you line up with your totem, which is your animal spirit, or the animal that represents your higher self. Now, what you do with this is you basically take the picture, put it on the wall, or this nephilim, get you a red candle, light it, and recite the English version right up under the metanoia, and bam, it's done. And don't think it won't work. It's very powerful stuff, because this deity came and said, this is my ritual. And people in the United States have been buying it since December from me, and they've been having results. So the people who didn't get it, we want to do that. Now, a couple of things I want to deal with right now is we got something called a balm of Isis. It's a potion from Aset, coming from ancient Egypt, that you mix up. And it's an invocation. When you mix this balm up, she comes through and she helps you with what you want with healing or what other type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? Or what other types of stuff, you see. Here, and let me get this picture. I showed a little bit of it yesterday. But here's a picture. Let me see what I do. What did I do with my overlays? Here's a picture of King Tut, and some people heard me talking about it. There's a picture of King Tut that they don't show. And they don't show this picture. They don't show this picture because this picture will put you in trance. And it's a picture of King Tut with his real eyes, on how his eyes were made. The Egyptian made his real eyes to see into the future in his burial sarcophagus. And it happens every, they only release it every 10 years and never in color. But it's a picture of King Tut. It's a picture of King Tut with the real eyes. It can do some stuff, and it can also act as a healing system for you. I'll show it when I come back. When I come back, I had it yesterday, and I'll show it when I come back. But you need to get this particular. You need to get this particular picture. We also have one of Anubis, or one of a Black Osiris, and we have one of a Zodiac. We have one that's a Zodiac picture, and whatever your Zodiac is, it will tell you what God lines up under your Zodiac. So what Egyptian God lines up with your Zodiac? We have the Nesha that removes obstacles. We have the goddess Lakshmi. I sold a lot of these in the continental United States because it caught on. This is the goddess Lakshmi coming from the Kemetic Museum. And this particular picture of the goddess Lakshmi, which is the god of wealth and fortune, works. So people was buying this picture and coming down with money. You see what I'm saying? But you got to clean your house up. That might be a task for some of y'all. But you got to clean your house up. You see what I'm saying? That's one of the keys, because she don't fuck around with a nasty house. But this is one that you can deal with. This is the big mama Yeminya with the snake for protection. This is the god Shiva, and this right here is the Sri Yantra. If you can see this yantra here is a mandala that lines up the melanin. So what you do is you study this diagram and memorize it to the point where you can memorize it without even looking at the picture, and it lines up the melanin. It's the ultimate feminine symbol. It's called the Sri Yantra, and it's for healing and for a multiplicity of things. And so it's for also prosperity. So this is one too. You say, well, how do you memorize? Well, you know, right now if I ask you how a fucking chicken wing look, you would know. You don't have enough chicken drumsticks to know exactly how a short thigh look, a breast, chicken wing and a drumstick, or a buffalo wing. You would already know. Because you have, so that's the same thing, just apply the same kind of knowledge to that. And stuff like that. So we got these particular pictures. But we also, you can get the whole stack. We're selling the whole thing. So this is about $100 worth of pictures. We're selling the whole thing for how much?
Well, half.
It's half, so it's like $60.
Depends on them. I don't have every one. You know,
Yeah.
some of them kind of ran out. But whatever you do, whatever it adds up.
They 2 pounds.
We'll give you a discount.
It's $5 each in American money. That's £2.50 each. You can buy them £2.50 each.
How much are they? How many? 13?
And £2.50 each.
Well, not quite 13.
Or you can try to get a package, and what you get is what you get for about.
I'll still work it out.
Okay.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
We'll work something out. So we're going to break for the people that want the pictures, want to get the ritual book, and want to get the third eye ritual.
One question before you see the third eye talks about making some tea and so forth. Is that necessary?
15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 15 minutes and then we're right back. Right. Okay. Those things last 6 hours, so you know. They last 6 hours. So what I'm gonna do is let me just go through some things, and we're gonna get back into a question and answer. Because a lot of people got questions, and you know, my lectures, my minimal time is 6 hours. Then that can go from 7 to 8 hours. So 4 hours is like an hour to me. So I'm gonna do some stuff, and then we're gonna go into another question and answer. You see what I'm saying? You know, another question and answer. And then, you know, but like I say, you know, this is gonna be the new home. I'll be back. It's not like, you know, just a plane ride. But what you do is, we'll put it on the tape. Okay, we know that the brother Darrell, see what happens is this, and it happens the same way in the States. The brother will stand up and he'll start bringing in these speakers, and the people will come out, and then they will leave, but they never assist him from bringing them back in, and so the burden comes heavy, and then they have to shut down, and then you have to wait another couple of years. So what it is you got the brother Darrell out there, you know he doing it. Sometimes, you know, you step to the brother and assist him. You get 4 people to break off $100. You see what I'm saying? That's $400. That pay for the plane ticket. You see what I'm saying? And other people. So you got to do things like that and work with these people when they stand up. You see, because what happens here is, it's the same way it happened in the state. We have some people stand up and they might do 2 or 3 years. And then, you know, and it gets overbearing because nobody's actually helping them. And then they leave it. And you got to avoid in between when somebody else got to come along and do it. You see what I'm saying? So this time I'm trying to say to get these speakers coming here and get people, what you want to do is you want to help the brother out. You know, help the brother out. Somebody step to the brother, you know, and say, hey, look, man, you know, here's a, you know, you'd be surprised. You get 2 or 3 people, here's 100 here, 150 here. You see, and that'll help bring in that speaker and stuff like that. You see, and you got other people that can come and all, but they can't do it alone. And too often we have people, they step out there and make the decision they want to help their people bring the speakers through. They're always, the burden fall on them, and the next thing you know, it's too financially challenging. So help the brother out because he got a beautiful spirit, because it's a spirit thing when people do things. You see it stand up and do things. So the sister did stuff for I heard the early part of the 2000s. Now the brother's doing stuff with the sisters of the sister. But sometimes y'all need to get together and help these people out. And that's what I'm saying about that is, I've virtually been a poor man in the last 16 years of doing this. Now, if I was doing the research and if I was in the Jewish community, I would have a grant of $100,000 a year just to start off with. And other people help their scholars and stuff like that, because this is research. I'm not trying to say that it was supposed to be that way, but I'm just trying to say how things get done. A lot of people value things a little bit different. You see what I'm saying? You know, and we put things in the wrong thing, don't work. And I'm not talking about here, but in Atlanta, Georgia alone, where I'm from, them Negroes, I think they raised about, they was doing $5 million a Sunday with all the churches when I came 20 years ago. So you say 20 years now, they're doing something like maybe like $40 million a Sunday these churches is raising. You see, and they put the money in white banks, and on Monday morning, you can't go and get a loan. You see what I'm saying? So they bloodsuckers. You see, in Atlanta alone, in 1 3-mile radius, there's something like 400 churches. There's a church on every corner. You see, and this is the type of stuff that's actually got our people in bondage. But they give money and get nothing in return. And then you have people with this particular science and stuff. It's a labor of love. You know, it's really a labor of love. But it's good now. I wouldn't have it no other way. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this thing here is something that is a burden to me. I'm just trying to say people like the brother that bring the speakers in. You know, you need to help them out. You see, you need to help them out. I'm established. I'll be on a plane every month doing this stuff around the country or what have you and all, you know. So, you know, but what I want to do is I want to come back because there's so much we need to deal with. You see what I'm saying? You know, so much we don't need to deal with. So I need to not be 6 months in between coming back. You see, maybe 3 months, but we got a lot of information. And not only that, you got a lot of information in your genetic memory bank to give to the people. But I'll come in as a catalyst just to get that up out of you. You see what I'm saying? Because at this particular time, it's the rising of the gods. Now, to piggyback on what I said on the radio is this. The history here is that King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, if you want to familiarize yourself with that, get the movie Excalibur, which is still 1981, which is probably still the best one. Get the movie Excalibur, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Get the movie Merlin, 1998 with Sam Neill. And familiarize yourself with the Arthurian mythology or the Grail mythology, because that is stuff that came up out of Egypt or Kemetic. King Arthur is nobody but Osiris. Guinevere is Isis. You know, she cheats on him in the King Arthurian mythology, and there's the divine metaphysical reason why Guinevere cheats on King Arthur. It is because a woman is never supposed to be something that's on lockdown. If she's on lockdown, and she's on lockdown, it's usually, and it's not, the story is not really talking about cheating. The story is talking about a lot of times we use women as lockdown and they're not able to be their creative self. If she's her true creative self, you cannot lock her down. So they're talking about the creativity when they talk about this author, Guinevere, cheating on King Arthur with Lancelot. But Lancelot represents the Heru, the hero. And every woman wants to get with the hero. You see what I'm saying? So, so in so many words, these particular stories came out of ancient Egypt. There's a book called Myth and Symbol of, let's see, it's called Myth and Symbol in Ancient Egypt by Rundle and Clark. And in that book, they traced the Arthurian mythology back to Isis and Osiris. So what happened was, how this stuff got up into Europe is the Moors brought these particular stories of King Arthur and Knights of the Round Table. They dropped them off in Ireland, they dropped them off in France, and they dropped them off in parts of all over Europe. And the Britons, wanting to make much more of a royal aspect of their lives, and so a royal aspect of their existence, they copied these stories and tried to make them reality in the British aspect. They have nothing to do with Britain whatsoever other than the original knights that landed here, which was the Moors. So the word Moor is the black one, the blacker Moor, as they call night, midnight, black. So the knights are the black ones. Now, you get the book, The Sufis, by Idris Shah. Don't ask me how to spell it. The Sufis by Idris Shah. Somebody here might have heard of that before. They can help you out on that. I think it's I-D-R-E-S-S-H. Just what say it again?
It's I-D-R-I-E-S.
I-D-R-I-E-S. And what's the last one?
S-H-A-H.
S-H-A-A-H. Yeah, S-H-A-H.
I've got one copy.
Yeah, now that book tells you in there that the Knights Templar venerated the goat god that you call the devil. It's actually the Baphomet. You call the Baphomet. They venerated this god in respect for their teachers, the Moors, or the blacker Moors. The goat represents Capricorn. Capricorn is a leader because it's the divine chastiser. You see, there's a book called Capricorn, The New Look at the Old Devil. You still spooked out by some stuff up under the ground. Saturn. It's called Saturn. A New Look at the Old Devil. And the old devil. And in this thing here, they're talking about the Moors. And this was first venerated by the Knights Templars, where their fathers were the Moors. And they said, the Moors venerated the head of the Baphomet as the perfect man, the Moorish man, the blacker Moor. That's in that book, Idris Shah book. Idris Shah and what's the other guy that helped him write that book? Robert, what's that guy's name? He did gods, he did Greek gods. It's coming to me in a minute. Robert Graves. Robert Graves. But anyway, they set up the whole Arthurian thing, and King Arthur is supposed to rule Camelot, and Cam is Egypt. So Camelot means the new lot of Cam, or Kim. New lot of Cam. Egypt. New Egypt. Now, that is documented in a book called People of the Secret by Ernest Scott. Excellent book. People of the Secret by Ernest Scott. It tells you that one of the missions of the Moors was to come up into Europe and screw all the white women to redraft a race that could be a divine race. So what happened was, they said that they had all these mutated strains up here that they say that was basically the Egyptian fault. Because in the Hermetic text, they say our biggest problem, we learned how to make another man. So they was dealing with all kind of gene splicing and stuff like that. Now we got more on that than we do the whole continent, the whole the other part that they call, what they call how the European got here based on the weather and all that. Genetic mutation or climate adaptability. Both of them occurred, climate adaptability, but they did have some genetic engineering going on in Kemetic. And they left a lot of those people up in the Caucasus Mountains and stuff like that because that was the incubation. And Diop even talks about it a little bit if you read in his book African Presence in African Origins of Civilization, Myth or Reality, Sheikh Anta Diop. And they left them up in there, and they were supposed to do something with them, and they never got a chance. And so what happened was, when the last priesthood of Egypt, when the Arabs invaded, the last invasion of Egypt, which is now still controlled by the Arabs, this priesthood band together under the name of the Moors, and they took the Islam as not a religious aspect, but a political aspect. Just like you got people that belong to the Democratic Republican Party in America. Well, they could take a religion, because they were masters, and they could go up under the religion as a political movement for conquest. So they band together under the political movement and went on up into Europe for 700 years. And one of their roles was to clean the Aegean stable, which means that they were supposed to, their job was, there's a tarot card on it, was to go through Europe and screw all the white women to make a mulatto race, make a mulatto race, this is the tarot card, Aleister Crowley's tarot card, the lovers. I don't know, it's very hard to see, but this is a Moorish king, the lovers. This is a Moorish king with a white woman, and the union was a mulatto type race that would try to regraft or gene splice them back into the melanin line. Now the first result of that was the Jews, European Jews, but after the Moors got ousted, they spent the next 500 or 600 years re-whitening themselves again. You see what I'm saying? A lot of this is in the Ernest Scott's book. He'll just say things like the Arabs in Spain. Ernest Scott's book, People of the Secret. You see what I'm saying? And that is the reason why the Jews was thrown out of every country. You see what I'm saying? Because they had a tinge of the Moor. You see what I'm saying? The bastard children of the Moors. You see what I'm saying? So partly, there's a lot of European stuff now, but partly there is some nigger line up in there. You see what I'm saying? You even got that with the Queen Elizabeth and them too. With the Queen Charlotte and all that type of stuff, you see. You see, so everything is not really, see, the racial thing is blurred now. It's blurred now. It's not all black and white, it's grays in there. What that means here is, you might have somebody to step to you to help you, and they might be a white person. And based on your training, you might say, I'm not fucking with that white person. But it might be somebody that's got something to do with a genetic link. And when you go through what you have to go through, you get the benefit because the spirit world will send some type of person genetically, you see what I'm saying, to do something for you that normally some black person wouldn't be able to do or be in the position to do. And basically this has been a lot of things that happened in our lifetime. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that, because last summer in Atlanta, every white person met us, bowed down to us, and treated us like royalty. We were like, what the hell is going on? You see what I'm saying? They're saying, well, you know, they got all kind of, the bloodlines is mixed, there's all kind of stuff that is mixed in, and they have all kind of black people born in their family tree that they constantly is trying to sweep under the rug. You see, they're trying to sweep under the rug. So it's a lot of this. It's not just black and white. There's gray areas in this thing. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not necessarily telling you to go out with a We Are the World and all this kind of thing here. I'm just trying to say, when some things come up and you don't understand, remember there's more variations in it on why certain things come up. So now, going back, they envisioned the new lot of Cam. This is the Moorish seals. This is the Moorish seals. These are the Moorish seals. Anytime Europeans say these things mysteriously show up in Europe, that is because they mysteriously showed up in Europe by the Moors. and you don't want to say where it comes from. These Moorish seals later on are called the Greater Keys of Solomon. So you go on the internet and type in Greater Keys of Solomon, or you can go and buy the book Greater Keys of Solomon by McGregor Mathers. But you can go on the internet and download these seals. And these seals got something to do with your bloodline. And they got all kinds of alien-looking writing as well as Hebrew writing. Remember all that stuff, because remember now, they took all kinds of texts up into Spain. Hebrew, Arabic, all types of stuff. But they left these Moorish seals behind. And a lot of Europeans use these seals. Now it's called the Greater Key of Solomon. There was no historical Solomon. Solomon is Osiris. You see. These are the sublime mythology historicalized. So these are the seals of Osiris, are the seals of Amen-Ra. You can go and look in Burgess Hieroglyphic Dictionary, the word Amen, it says Amen translate into the word the Moor. Right in Burgess Hieroglyphic Dictionaries. The word Moor means Amen. And also, but Amen is also a form of Osiris. So the word Moor also means Osiris or Osar. These are the seals of Osar, Amen-Ra, and Ptah. Ptah Osiris, Pythagoras. You see, the Moors brought these up. So these are the Moorish seals and sigils. So you get a hand to, you download these Greater Key of Solomon. And they got all kind of zodiac things. So you say if you are a Scorpio, you download these Greater Key of Solomon. You cut them out and you put a lamination around a little square and then put it and wear it in your pocket and see what happens. Or wear it around your chest. But you don't have, you can go buy the book, The Greater Key of Solomon by McGregor Mathers. Or you can go to the internet and download the Greater Key of Solomon and find these seals and find which one is based on your astronomical and astrological configuration. And you cut them out and laminate or make a talisman out of them. And then wear them on your person. And that makes the return of the Moors with those Moorish seals. But they envision a new lot of Cam. Well, if you go to Washington, D.C., clearly Washington, D.C. is the new Egypt. But what we didn't know until now is the other new lot of Cam was what the British knew. The British also had a prophecy that the Camelot would rise up in Britain. Well, that's what they made all the mythology about. You think it is Britain. But what it was, it had nothing to do with Queen Elizabeth and them ass. And here's the prophecy. The new lot of Cam that would rise up in Britain, you the motherfuckers in this room.
That's right.
That is some powerful shit. Because what we're dealing with is the return of the new lot of Cam. Now what Queen Elizabeth tried to do was when Princess Diana had Prince William, they were all upset because they were supposed to name him Arthur. And they didn't do it. That was one strike. They didn't ever forgive her for that. So when they took her head, that was a part of it also too. Because she destroyed the masquerade. You see what I'm saying? But it wasn't for him to be Arthur. It was for you to be the Knights of the Round Table. The people here in Britain. You see what I'm saying? Which represents a coming together of an amalgamation of indigenous people. You see. From various islands coming to one big island. See what I'm saying? You went from one island to another island. So you went from various islands, which represents the chakras, to one island that represents the pineal gland and the three gates of Zion, the pineal, pituitary, and I think it's the thymus gland. Hypothalamus or one of those. There's those gates in the brain. Which one is it?
Thyroid.
The thymus.
The big T on the cross with the British is the representative.
It's the thymus. So you are here, and you are, and I'm telling you now, I got my passport in 8 days. And I said, wait a minute, now hold on now. The passport office is swamped because they told the people that you can't go to Canada or Mexico now unless you have a passport now. So they're locking down the United States. So as a result, it's taking months for people to get passports. For me to get it in 8 days, You see what I'm saying? I thought it was going to be at least 15 to 2 weeks and stuff. So when Darryl called, he said, well, you might be able to do something. I didn't know it was going to be 8 days. You see what I'm saying? So the thing here is, I said, wait a minute. There's something going on here. And when we was talking, I said, no, man. I said, this ain't about me coming to do no lecture. I said, this is coming to me to announce the arrival of the new gods of Camelot through the threshold. And that's those million black people in Britain. And then I realized what it is and the reason why they don't show you in the United States. And we only think there's 2 or 3 of you all mixed amongst white people. And the reason why they do that, because they know that the prophecy is, or the Nostradamus prophecy, is that the empires will return to black nations. Well, America is not called an empire. Britain is called the British Empire. Now, America is a part of that too, because they saw a land in the future that hadn't been established yet. They said, but all races and all people will come with different types of vehicles to establish this land in the West. And that's America. And they said they would reestablish Mayat. That's in the Hermetic text. You see what I'm saying? So all of this stuff here, we're still talking about this founding of this newfound nation. This newfound nation. And as a result, that's what this whole meeting is about. Because it's on now. It's on. This 8 year, you got 2 loops. That's infinity. And this thing is going down. It's going down now. But the thing about it here is the people must understand who they are. You see what I'm saying? They must understand who they are. And so it's the same thing that happened with Clarence 13X. Clarence 13X is the founder of the 5% Nation. Elijah Muhammad said one time that he didn't want followers, he wanted gods. And he said that the people who was going to do this were going to be the ones who not yet come in the nation, would be out in the streets. And so they couldn't understand the prophecy. Malcolm X went to Clarence 13X's house to pick him up to go to the mosque. And Clarence 13X and them had women, liquor, and they had a party going on. And Malcolm came and said, what the hell is this? He said, well, he said, yo, we chilling, man. He said, what is this, all this drinking and these women and all that? He said, oh, we can do that now because we gods. We don't have to do the other shit no more because we gods. So he had understood what the prophecy was. Is it not written in your law that I say ye are gods and the scriptures cannot be broken? John 10:13, verse 34, 36. You see what I'm saying? And he called them gods. God standing on the congregation of the mighty. Psalms 82. And he talks to the gods or something like that. Psalms 86. So he understood what was going on. But John, John 10, what is it? John 10? 34, 36. Yeah. And he called them gods in which the scriptures cannot be broken. So Clarence 13X said, we gods now. And so Malcolm went and got him thrown out of the nation. And all. But why they killed Clarence 13X, so Clarence 13X started dealing with the numbers. He took the lessons from the Nation of Islam, and he took the lessons and the numerical value, and he went and started using the Zohar and the Kabbalah. And that's when the Jews took him out, when he started going into the Kabbalah. They said, now you really gods is going on now. And you start getting back into your ancient works. So that's what we're talking about here. But in the concept here, what we're talking about, this elevation of consciousness, is you got to come out of these groups. You can't have no pinhead leader over you. And that's your problem. That's your problem. Right now, if your mama came in your house and told you to take your ass to bed, and you 40 and 50 years old, you would have a problem with that. But why in the devil you got some leader over you? The time, why you think, look, in America, in 1 year radiance, they killed Khalid Muhammad, they arrested H. Rap Brown, and they arrested Dr. York. You see what I'm saying? Why did all that happen? And Farrakhan damn near retired. Because the time for leadership is over. You're supposed to be coming to gods now. You're not supposed to be following nobody. You see what I'm saying? You see, you don't supposed to be following nobody. And that's what the spirit world is trying to tell you. It's time for you to raise up and be your own self. And the only way you can get to your soul and your higher self is through you, not no other handkerchief head nigga telling you to pay your dues. And treating you like a child, telling you, brother, you can't do this and you can't do that. You can't eat this and you can't eat that. See what I'm saying? Every now and then you want to heal yourself. Your soul might tell you, look, I want some ice cream and cake. And if you don't get it, the cancer might metastasize. Because you didn't give the soul what the soul wanted. See what I'm saying? That's the way the spirit world works. You see, that's the way the spirit world works. So we're going to go into a question and answer because there's never enough time. We're going to go into a question and answer. And so tomorrow we can come back and we can start some magical things. But it's going to be magic and still lecturing. So don't get me wrong. Now we're going to be still dealing with several things. With several things. And so there's going to be commentary. So don't think tomorrow is just a workshop. No, we still have to have a lot of instruction, a lot of things. So right now we're going to go into a question and answer right quick. What's that, brother?
Okay, see, British is apparently supposed to mean male covenant. And Elizabeth's being the house of God. That connected to, and I wanted to ask about the magical meddling that you were supposed to break down yesterday, and the explosion of the DNA.
What now? What that?
All right, how'd that go?
Slow down. What you said now?
All right, British, yeah, is supposed to mean male covenant, yeah?
Male what?
Male covenant.
Uh-huh.
So, what you're saying is that the covenant is made, the male covenant, the covenant is between us. That's why it's called British.
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant is between you. Yeah? The Ark of the Covenant is nothing but the pineal gland. And the healing in the wing. So all of that, basically what you're saying, all of that you can.
Why they call it Britain? Why they call this British? The names.
Yeah, I understand what I'm trying to say. You can break down every little minute detail, and it all will come up to the same thing. Right. You see what I'm saying? But we don't even have to even look to the tradition of this thing to just say, bunch of niggas in a room. It's great. Drawing heat. You see what I'm saying? You see, so in a way, give me a question. What's that?
Lots of different people have different views as to whether women should menstruate or not. So I just wanted to ask you what you think.
From what I studied, it isn't interesting that most people that came before you told you that shit was males. So I got a fucking problem with that shit. Al-Ayala Africa was the first one to raise that bullshit up. Look. In Valentine, always these fucking males come with that bullshit. I do my own damn studying. And I don't know a time in ancient Egyptian in the time where they said about the Smen rites. Everything was always based on a 28-day cycle and the woman's menstrual and the different things like that. 5 minutes. And also, based on my study, there's always been that particular aspect because that is a high form of melanin, a high potency of melanin. There's a book called Dragon Time. Dragon Time. And in that book talks about, it breaks down what the mood swings is. The mood swings when a woman is on her menstrual cycle is you have serotonin in the daytime and melatonin at night. But when you're on your menstrual cycle, all these hormones are coursing through the body at the same time. So 1 minute you got a melatonin, a sleep hormone, and it's 12 o'clock in the daytime. You see what I'm saying? And then you might have a day hormone at night. And so it's showing that that's some very powerful thing. Do you know, I'm going to tell you something. Do you know, this is one of the great mysteries. The OTO and Crawley and them know about this. That you can heal just about everything on this planet through menstrual blood. It's just that powerful. You can heal cancers, you can bring a nigga back to life. Menstrual blood. Now I know, so my point here is this. The wounded wound, the concept comes from a book called The Wise Wound by Peter Redgrove and Penelope Shuttle. They'll put it in print. maybe 10 years, and they'll take it out of print 10 years. The Wise Womb. But every book deals with that. Peter Redgrove wrote another book they won't put back in print. It costs about $90 on the internet, $100. It's called The Black Goddess and the Unseen Real. Major work. Black Goddess and the Unseen Real. Only thing that the ancients said is you have to be careful when a woman is on her dragon time, because it's such a powerful time that she cooks and her mind ain't calm, she can end up killing the nigga, because that's how powerful her shit is. So they would rather her not mess around cooking when she was on her menses, because the simple fact that's a powerful time for the goddess. You see, that's a powerful time for the goddess. But everything that I have studied, and that's the thing about me, see, the thing about me is this here. I'm the bibliography man. Now, if you notice, if you get my tapes, you can take a pencil and a piece of paper and go down those tapes for years and get hundreds of books. All the people come here, they won't give you no bibliography. Won't give you shit. But make these claims, but I'm trying to be fair about this thing. And I'm trying to tell you I've studied nothing. In my studies and in my research and what the spirit world says, there's always been a time, and all this shit about to die, he called another fucking man talking this shit. I got a sister-in-law and a brother. They are breatharians. They don't eat nothing. They are insane with this shit. She bleed like a nigga. She bleeds, she never could get rid of that. So that's all, see, that's that male shit talking again. You see what I'm saying? That's that male shit talking. And most of the stuff when they talk about this, these are the men, oh, if you get the diet right, you would be, that's bullshit. I'm telling you, I got a sister-in-law that don't eat nothing. They don't, we still, it's a mystery on what these motherfuckers eat. And she still have a menstrual cycle, and her diet is one of the best in the continental United States. So I don't buy that. Yeah, what's that, bro?
Brother Bobby, I'm just going to cut you there because based on what you said, I feel that I'm agreeing with you 100%, but I think what it is with you and Phil is that you're talking about the same thing. You're both right. What Phil's talking about is that the way that the women bleed during the cycle, there is a cycle. Yeah. You're correct in what you're saying. Yeah. There is a cycle. Yeah. But whether a woman is meant to be bleeding for maybe 4, 5, 7 days, something.
That might, yeah. We did come to that consensus. It might be a thing that she might be bleeding longer than what she's supposed to.
Right, yeah. So
we did come to that consensus. This was a big debate in the late 90s, in the early 2000s. We did come to that consensus. But nevertheless, you see what I'm saying? Nevertheless, now, I will, because the reason why I say that is a book you need to get called Mysteries of the Dark Moon. And in that book, it says something, and I knew about it before so I'll come into an incident, and then I'll read it maybe 4 or 5 years later. And one of the sisters from the spirit world was saying, well, you know, there's birth control, and then there's a time when you have birth control based on the mind. You can control your birth control based on the mind. And then I would read that later on that the menstrual cycle of the Lilith was the woman's own built-in birth control to ward off unwanted pregnancy at a time when the patriarchal movement was coming in and women was getting raped.